Dear Vice Rector for Culture, Communication and Open Science, Professor Delfim Leão, representing the Rector of the University of Coimbra. Dear Director of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities of the University of Coimbra, Professor Albano Figueiredo. Dear Director of the Celtic Conference in Classics, Professor Douglas Cairns. Dear conveners and speakers of the Celtic Conference in Classics, ladies and gentlemen, I begin the intense 4 days of the Congress ahead of us with a quote from the website of the Celtic Conference in Classics. It served as a motto for the organization of the largest scientific event so far held in Portugal in the area of classical studies. Sociability and intellectual openness are qualities that distinguish the ethos from the chairman of the event, our late Anton Paulo. Imprinted to the CCC since its first edition in 2000. In these necessarily brief opening words, I will summarize how the Center for Classical and Humanistic Studies of the University of Coimbra, which I have the responsibility and honor to coordinate, embodied that inspiring quote. But first, let me introduce you to the 4 guardians who welcome you every day at the entrance of our Faculty of Arts and Humanities. Demosthenes, Aristotle, Thucydides, and Sappho. Keep in mind, in particular, the names of the last 2, Thucydides and Sappho. I will come back to them at the end of my speech. What can we say about the intellectual openness of this conference? It largely exceeded the initial expectations we had based on the results of the first CCC we organized in 2019. From 23 panels 4 years ago, we have grown to 32. An increase that involves a greater thematic variety of the subjects under discussion. A keyword search on the titles of the panels allows us to quickly confirm the intellectual richness and openness of the work that the more than 500 speakers will discuss between today and next Friday. Let's take a look at this scientific marrow. We have here a collection of the keywords. I will not read them because we don't have enough time, but it's illustrative of this openness and richness thematic of this conference. Sorry, all and all. Now they are all there. Okay. As for the promotion of sociability within the conference, besides the already classic moments of conviviality associated to meals and proposed visits to places of culture, cultural, architectural, and landscape interest, we wanted to stimulate the intellectual interaction between all panels. Once again, we have drawn inspiration from guidelines taken from the CCC website. There, we find the following statement. Sorry, this is not correct. It's missing one. Oh, sorry. Where is my? Okay. I think that's okay. Here. Okay, don't worry. Naturally, it is up to the organizers of the 32 panels to go ahead with the publication of monographs on the topics of the discussed but we, the organizing committee, decided to prepare a simple brochure made with the contributions of all those who wanted to participate. We present it in digital format and also offer a paper copy included in the conference folder. You can use our tabula of inspiring quotes as a cover to keep loose sheets. I invite you to browse through this digital format that I'm going to project on the screen and that you will find on the event's website. Oh my God. Oh. No. The gods are against me. I don't know why. They have their reasons. They are the most wise of all. So never discuss God's will. Now, yes. Of course, we don't have time to watch all the panels, but anyway. Finally, a word. This was the slide that should be before this, okay. Finally, a word of thanks to the hundreds of people who make this fourth edition of the CCC happen. I begin by mentioning Douglas Cairns, director of the CCC, whose encouragement, guidance, and friendship were crucial in building the 2023 event in Coimbra. I would also like to express my gratitude to the institutions, entities, and companies that logistically supported the holding of such a demanding event in terms of space management and supply of goods, mainly food. Allow me to point out the exceptional availability and collaboration of the Board of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities through its director, Albano Figueiredo, who honors us with his presence at this opening session. I would also like to highlight the prompt and usual collaboration of two long-standing partners of the congresses we have promoted, the Coimbra National Museum and Archaeological Site, the second one, the pastry shop Vasco da Gama, and the restaurant and traditional brewery Praxis. We would also mention the new and much appreciated partnership with the company Coimbra Waters, which allows us to offer the participants of the event a more sustainable way of water consumption, which is expected to be very high during these summer days. In order not to leave anyone out of the thanks, due to the vast community of participants, organizers, and staff of our event, we have gathered the information about who we are and how many we are in a short video that I invite you to watch. To finish, I thank a very special person. Sorry. Oh, the gods are dancing again. I don't know why. My God, I want to. Okay. Okay. Now the computer is talking to me. I don't know why. No, sorry. How do I stop this? No, because I didn't want to put now. It's a surprise. It was a surprise. It's not anymore. I don't know. Anyway, this is the funny thing. Anyway, to finish, I thank a very special person who, not being physically with us, accompany us every time we pronounce the word Celtic Conference in classics. To Anton Paulo, one of the dearest and most sensitive classicists I have ever known, I, all friends from Coimbra, address the words gratitude and saudade. The Portuguese word whose untranslatable meaning Anton learned and used in personal correspondence exchange between us. We miss you every day, Anton. So I hope this jumps. No. Okay. Today, we wanted to bring you to this stage where you stood in 2019 and show you in Coimbra, enjoying an unforgettable afternoon, an afternoon of fraternization and learning. I now ask permission from our vast auditorium to break protocol and conclude my speech by quoting the last inspirational message Anton Paulo wrote to me. Given what it says about the sensitive person that was the founder of the CCC, showing the great esteem he had for Coimbra and for Portugal, it seemed appropriate to close my welcome speech by giving voice to his words. This email was written on the 24th April 2020. Hello, Carmen. Not a business message at all. As I stare out of my window over the sea to England, and the added hand note, a faraway land called England, as I used to say when telling fairy stories to my little daughter, and it's very beautiful this morning. I still have this desire to be somewhere else, and it's Portugal. And to think, had it not been for your conference last year, I would probably have spent my whole life not knowing what a sophisticated and beautiful country yours is. I've already suggested to my friend Tom Figueira that after your next conference, he and I and friends do some revealing together, touristically. Tiles from Coimbra, tramp from Porto down the river to the sea. But to feel deeply at home in a foreign country or city, there has, for me, to be someone who presides morally over it, whom I think of with admiration. For me in Greece, it's Soares and Seifo. With my best wishes, from Anton.
Thanks very much indeed. Carmen and Anton would have appreciated that very much. I'm Douglas Cairns. I've been involved with the Celtic Conference since the second one in Glasgow in 2002, along with my friend and colleague Kostas in the front row. It's great that this Celtic Conference does bring so many people together again after many iterations of previous meetings, because the Celtic Conference works. Carmen was kind enough to refer to me as the director of the Celtic Conference, but of course that's not true. The only director of the Celtic Conference is Anton, and I'm here only because I promised Anton in the early part of 2020 that I would ensure that the conference carried on in the format that he had developed over the years. Anton talked a lot about giving up the reins of the conference and maybe stepping back a little bit from the Classical Press of Wales. So I wasn't at all surprised when he mentioned this. He'd mentioned it several times in the past, and I knew that he wanted to gradually ease himself into retirement. But of course, he died very soon thereafter, and in that phone call that I had with him at that time, he was making sure that this conference would live on in the spirit and in the form which he had given it. And the Celtic Conference really is a unique event. Anton set it up, planned it in the late 1990s. The first one took place in 2000 as a very different kind of enterprise to anything else that was going on in the United Kingdom at that time. So the Classical Association Conference, which I was also proud to be involved with, became a big conference with very small panels and very short papers. And Anton thought that there was room for something very different from that, a conference with very long panels and very long papers. He also thought that there was room for something different from a conference that happened every 3 years at that time in the UK, called the Triennial, which alternated between Oxford and Cambridge, and alternated in a sort of Darwinian struggle between Oxford and Cambridge in inviting friends and protégés of people in Oxford and Cambridge to present papers at this wonderful conference, which excluded just about everyone from the north of England, from the Celtic countries of Scotland, Wales and Ireland, and just about everywhere else in the world, unless you were a personal friend of theirs. The Triennial is no more, but the Celtic Conference lives on. Anton designed it, he built it, and people came. And the enormous numbers that Carmen showed us on the screen there of delegates, speakers, panel organisers, and so on at this current conference are full tribute to the power of the idea and the potential of this idea to attract researchers now from all over the world. So the idea previously was that the conference would alternate around Wales, Ireland, and Scotland. It then took in Brittany, and then it was considered that there should be no reason why it shouldn't take in the rest of France, and then other francophone parts of the world, such as Quebec, and then Portugal. And now we've been in Coimbra twice. But in that last conversation that I had with Anton by telephone, he reiterated what Carmen has just told you, how much he loved Coimbra and how much he enjoyed it as a place, especially as a place of fabulous warmth and hospitality, but also spirit. I mean, once you've been out in the town and you've experienced the Fado, especially the particular Coimbra version of Fado, you realize that this is a very, very special place indeed. There's nowhere else like it. It's a fantastic place for the conference for that reason and for many other reasons. But the other reason that Anton appreciated the conference here was by virtue of how well organized it was by Carmen and Delfim and their many colleagues. So not only do they make us feel welcome, but they make everything work. Maybe sometimes not the PowerPoint, but in every other respect, they make everything work brilliantly for us. And so Anton's last wish, in fact, was that the Celtic Conference should make Coimbra its home. And it will do that from now on. It will be here every second year from now on. And we'll find somewhere else for the intervening years. Next year we'll be in Cardiff, then we'll be back in Coimbra, and then we'll be somewhere else in the Celtic fringes of the United Kingdom. But this is now the home of the Celtic Conference. I know that you will love it if you've never been here before, and if you've never been at the Celtic Conference before, I know you will really appreciate the format, because the format really works. And for that, we have to thank Anton once more. Thank you very much.
Dear Vice Rector of the University of Coimbra, Professor Delfim Leão, also representing our Rector. Dear Professor Douglas Cairns. Dear organizers, Carmen, Soares, Margarida, Miranda, and also Delfim Leão. Dear members of scientific committees, dear members of staff, dear colleagues, professors, researchers, and participants, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. As Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities at the University of Coimbra, it is with great pleasure that I greet you and welcome you. It is an honor to have you here with us. At the opening of this international conference in classics, I would like to make two very brief remarks. First, we are very pleased with the fact that this event is taking place here at Coimbra and in our faculty. I therefore wish to thank the organizing committee, namely our Center for Classic and Humanistic Studies, and also Professor Douglas Cairns, for bringing about this important meeting in which research, knowledge, and critical thinking have center stage. I am sure Coimbra will be the European capital of classic studies in these 4 days. So, thank you very much for all your work. Second, I sincerely hope you enjoy excellent and productive sessions of debate and networking over these days. The Faculty of Arts and Humanities of Coimbra is increasingly open to internationalization, and that is the path that we all want to continue to walk. After the success of 2019, of the conference here in our faculty, I wish you the best for 2023. So I renew my compliments. Have an excellent conference. Thank you very much. Muito obrigado.
Dear Professor Albano Figueiredo, Dean of our faculty and our host, to whom I greatly thank for hosting us in such a pleasant manner. Dear friend Douglas Cairns and Carmen, directors of CCC and the organizers, dear colleagues, participants in the conference, being myself for a short period vice rector, but mainly being myself a classical philologist, I hope for a much greater time. It's really a great joy to see this amphitheater or theater as well, full with people coming from all over the world. It has been said this is probably the biggest event in classical studies this year in Europe, and it's extremely important that this happens in Coimbra. The faculty during the next 4 days was literally taken up by classics, so it will be entirely yours. As is the case also at university, will be entirely yours. That's the way we want to behave, and we want to welcome people. Feel at home. This is your home as well. And the same for the city. Douglas was already kind enough highlighting a few unique selling points of Coimbra, so to say, like the fado. Discover them by yourself. Of course, now we have 4 days of hard work, and of course we want them to be hard in the sense that they will be productive. But don't forget, you are always also in Portugal. Enjoy life, combine both things, and this is something that we'd like to of course to suggest you as well. So everything that is important has already been said. It's now time to start working, and we will immediately start with the first sessions of the day. But thank you very much for being here in such a great number, and thank you very much for honoring us with your presence. It's a great day. It will be a great week. Thank you.
Now we will proceed with the hard work, so move on.